Guys, it's time for the most controversial video of all time, guys. Spider-Man movie ranking. It's two separate lists here because, I don't know, actually, we'll see.
Venom Let There Be Carnage is number 11 for me.
What?
Yeah.
Worse than Venom 1.
Because how badly they waste Carnage.
But, dude.
Like, there's some cool things, but
Who does Riz Ahmed play?
He played Riot.
Who does he play, John? Who's the person that he plays?
We haven't done Venom.
John, who is the person that...
But, like, I'm saying, I'm going based off what I remember. I enjoyed Venom 1 more than I enjoyed Venom 2.
That's surprising, I gotta say. My bottom, this is difficult. I don't know if I should choose Venom or TASM 2. Because TASM 2 has really good action scenes. But I'd say Venom is a more coherent movie.
Okay.
But I'll go with...
The Amazing Spider-Man 2.
TASM 2. I was rethinking it. But yeah, the action scenes look really good. The suit looks really good. The cinematography is really good. But everything else is bad. Okay, number 10.
Number 10, Venom.
Okay, mine's Venom.
Yeah.
I just think... I can't tell you... I mean, I just think that, before he becomes Venom, it's quite boring. Mm-hmm. And the Venom antics are mid. And Riot sucks ass. So, overall, mid.
My number 9, Spider-Man 3.
No! What? Actually?
Yeah, I think it's just too much of a clusterfuck, and I know you're going to say that's probably hypocritical, but, like, at the same time, it's just, like, the main thing that gets me through this movie, memes. And also the black suit, because I loved the black suit growing up. But, like,
oh, John, I can't believe you right now.
Sorry, John.
Spider-Man 3's worse than... Oh, you did review both Venoms. Still, you're wrong. Venom Let There Be Carnage is my number 9. Because Carnage is ass. But at least he's more memorable than Riot. And at least this movie knows what it is.
Yeah.
Stupid movie.
My number 8, Spider-Man Far From Home.
What? How is TASM 2 making it this high, John?
Okay, take a guess at which one's next.
TASM 2?
Yeah. Originally, I did have Amazing Spider-Man 2 as number 8. So these two, for me, as of right now, are interchangeable between 8 and 7.
Okay. Well, mine's TASM 1. Because Lizard fucking sucks the more I think about it. And it's just very unmemorable. There's some good parts. Some concepts I think are quite wasted, but have a good idea. But just like... I just wish he had I think it would have been a better movie if he had the TASM 2 suit.
Yeah. And I do like Spider-Man Far From Home. That's why it's interchangeable with Amazing Spider-Man 2 for me. You know how I feel about those movies, Jack. And the fact that it's interchangeable...
I really don't know how you feel about those movies. After all this is said and done, I'm like, what does John think about those?
Not, the fact that it's interchangeable with Amazing Spider-Man 2 for me is kind of surprising even. And I do enjoy it. It's just not... I don't know. I just, overall, compared to the other ones, I feel like it was kind of a letdown.
Okay.
Especially considering what came before it.
Okay, that's valid, I guess. Go.
My number 7, you already know, Amazing Spider-Man.
Okay.
2.
Mine is Far From Home. Yeah, mid Spider-Man movie, but I still think it's fun. I still think Mysterio is good. The teachers are a highlight. And there's some really cool Spider-Sense scenes, so I enjoy it. It's breezy.
I think Amazing Spider-Man 2, obviously probably the best visual Spider-Man movie. I don't know what it is. These movies just charm me for some reason.
Interesting.
Well, like the other ones I get a bunch of nostalgia for. Like the Sam Raimi ones. These ones charm me. I don't know why.
It's weird. Because for me, they just make me angry
I
most
know
of the time. Yeah, so, okay, my number 6, Spider-Man 3, all the way up here. I think that in how much it's clustered, there's still the vision of Sam Raimi at the center of it. Not to suck his dick, but I'm gonna. The black suit, incredibly done. There is no comic book where it's done better. Not the original run, not Ultimate Spider-Man, not any time he's gotten it since. It's such a good idea that how he did with that. I think that Harry, even though he gets 2 scenes, or 3 or whatever, really well done. It's a good callback to the first movie when he has amnesia. But the fight scene out in the street with the ring, it's really well done. It adds the Peter Parker element, the ring, with the Spider-Man just perfect. He understands. And then Sandman, really, really well written. And the fights are all incredibly memorable. I think that the memes may help, but I don't know. When I watched this, I want to say 8th grade, it was on Netflix. I think it was the only one on Netflix. Kind of weird. But so I watched it, and I cried when Harry died. And posters are fire, and score is fire.
Fair. Score is pretty fair.
So what's your number 6, John?
Spider-Man Homecoming.
Okay. Okay.
I think they did do a good job. There were certain aspects that we talked about this in our Spider-Man Homecoming video, which you guys should go watch. I just think he still was babied too much towards even the end of the movie.
Wrong.
I don't know.
Wrong.
I don't know.
Wrong. He doesn't even have the suit.
Yeah, but that's what point in the movie is that at? Like when there's like
Halfway.
that was not halfway.
It's the midpoint.
Structurally, we see him thrive then. But the only time where I feel like he's still not getting babied is, when he lifts up the thing.
Yeah.
That's like what, with like 30, 20 minutes left in the movie.
John.
And also, I just feel like his motivations here were kind of like, I get it because he grew up with superheroes, but like his motivations I feel like were weird here.
But you're objectively wrong about him getting babied at the end.
Okay.
My number 5 is Spider-Man Homecoming. But it's top 5, baby. It's incredible. I think it's super fun. Friendly neighborhood. Peak friendly neighborhood. That scene where he's helping people. You know, the Stan Lee cameo scene. Incredible. I love the final fight. Wouldn't say love. The aerial stuff is alright, but I like it on the beach. When they get to the beach, it's pretty cool.
That's also the thing. There are good scenes of him being a friendly neighborhood Spider-Man here, but they make it clear he doesn't want to do that. That's my.
No, in this one, I feel like he does.
I feel like
it's Far From Home where they.
No, but because he calls Happy and he's like, I could be doing a lot more.
Oh, well,
I need to be doing this. Like.
Yeah, I guess, but he does it.
That's
which
what
is
I mean.
The thing.
Well, yeah, I get it, but because they told him to do it, they're like, just stick around, be friendly neighborhood Spider-Man. You'll get the call when you need it.
I guess, but nonetheless, he does it. And then there's just good scenes of him being like, you know, I can't be Spider-Man when I'm Peter Parker. You know, when he's like, ooh, I could be in a hot tub with a hot chick right now, but I guess I have to do this. It's very Peter Parker of him, very Spider-Man of him. So I like that
as well.
Why? I mean, she is kind of.
Did you not see what she did?
Oh yeah, then she went on People's Magazine or whatever. Fuck Liz.
Fuck you, Liz. She should have been like, oh my god, it all makes sense why he was an asshole to me now.
Yeah.
He wasn't even that much of an asshole.
He wasn't. He was super nice.
Like, I get he left, but he's like, I'm sorry, but I gotta go. And like, you can tell he was distraught. So like,
don't
need to be a bitch, Liz.
I'm gonna do it, John.
What are you gonna do?
I'm changing something last minute.
Is it gonna change your favorites in Letterboxd?
No.
Oh, okay. Number 4, right?
Yeah.
Or no, number 5.
I gave my number 5.
Oh, my number 5 is Amazing Spider-Man.
Okay. Yeah.
I just feel there are certain parts that are cringe about the retelling, but there are certain parts that I like about the retelling.
Yeah. See, here's a scene that I think best represents what my thoughts on this movie. It's positive,
isn't it?
It's the scene where I still think that's fucking hilarious when Uncle Ben dies, but I'm not talking about that. I think it more has to do with Andrew Garfield. It's that scene where he's doing the quips. He's like, oh, I'm scared of knives. That's literally a bit from like you'd see in the comics.
Mm-hmm.
But then this is where then it changes direction from like, oh, we want this to be dark. Because then he gives like that brooding look. And it goes dark and the camera zooms in. He's like, in his stupid fucking, sunglasses. He's like, you just look super like menacing. But like, that's so close to being like.
Didn't Toby literally kill somebody?
Yeah, that's when he's learning. Like,
this is still him going after Uncle Ben's killer. This is when he still hasn't realized.
No, but it's the tone shift that's the problem for me. It's not that scene is pivotal to Toby's character. He talks about it in No Way Home. One of the couple lines he gets, of course. Well, not couple, but you know what I mean. Couple scenes is a bit that comes up, but like that's just a part. The first like half of this movie before they randomly drop the fact that he's looking for Uncle Ben's killer, is him just going around and stuff. And so that's a part I feel like they could have just done normal Spider-Man where he quips and then realizes it's not him and swings away, or the cops come or whatever, But for some reason they had to they were remembered, oh yeah, this has to be dark, or Mark Webb made it so it was quippy, and then the studio's like, what happened there?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Something like that.
You know what I just realized though? A modern day Spider-Man would actually be like a school shooter instead.
Why? What do you mean?
The nerd that gets picked on all the time finally gets more power.
He comes into the school.
Exactly. That's what I mean.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, number 4.
Spider-Man.
See,
Sam Raimi Spider-Man.
I did my last minute shift here
Oh.
into the Spider-Verse.
Whoa.
It's just maybe it is nostalgia, but there's something about how charming but also poignant, and maybe it's because No Way Home made me really admit to myself that I fucking love Green Goblin, and he is my favorite Spider-Man villain. But yeah, I mean, Into the Spider-Verse, maybe one day when it really sets itself in the mythos, when we're like 35 or whatever. But for now, it has a lot of charm. I really like Miles in this. I really like Peter B. Parker. Obviously, Spider-Ham and Spider-Man Noir are a lot of fun. And it's groundbreaking. I think that without this movie, who knows if Marvel, the MCU, would have moved into the multiverse at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But
this movie is groundbreaking too. The one that I said was my number 3. Number 4.
Yeah, and it's separate kind of it and Blade and X-Men.
It's still amazing. I do like this retelling. It's nostalgia filled. Green Goblin's amazing. His speech is great.
Yep. So misery.
Misery.
Yeah. So my number 3 is Spider-Man.
My number 3 is Into the Spider-Verse.
That was my last minute change. And yeah.
I can understand your last minute change now because like at the same time it's like when I think about the Spider-Man movies, this one's honestly kind of a little bit forgettable unless like I'm ranking them, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's what I'm saying. Like when I think of Spider-Man, what like the first few things that come to my mind are the first time he swings in Spider-Man 1 and the final fight of Spider-Man. It's like it's not something I could change about what I think of it, but it is what I think of it.
Yeah, like when you it's like when you're like ranking them, that's when you remember about this movie. But honestly, in general, I feel like it's more so kind of on the forgettable scale.
It's easy to place it number 3 because so many people have it as number 1, and like it's so highly regarded. But yeah, I'm trying to be more honest here. You know what I mean? And
we're gonna get hate for what I just said.
Yeah,
we both feel that way.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd say it's forgettable, but yeah, I feel like I remember these other movies more.
Yeah, that's what I mean. I feel like when you're thinking of the Spider-Man movies, this one like is kind of more forgettable. Like if you're thinking off the top of your head,
yeah.
But when you're ranking them, then like that's when it comes into fact.
But it's just like no one has, with TASM, they tried to retell this origin a different way. With Homecoming, they just skipped it completely. I think there's a reason why no one has ever been able to do what this movie did. I think that it holds the spot as the best origin. So
I think with the Amazing Spider-Man, they just try to be too different.
Yeah.
I feel like they were going in the good direction until the studio probably stepped in.
When they could have just moved over it or done it in an opening credit scene or something like that. Number 2, John?
Spider-Man 2.
Oh, really? Okay. See,
I don't know if this is recency bias, though, still at the same time. I need to wait.
No Way Home was my number 1 for a little bit. But as it's aged, I think that there are... Like, when I think of Spider-Man 2, truly, I mean this honestly, I can't think of a problem with it. It's cheesy, but that makes it. That's what makes it.
It has a lot of the best Spider-Man stuff.
But in No Way Home, I truly can think of a couple flaws. And missed opportunities. But not even in like... Okay, because here's what I'm thinking. Here's what they should have done to introduce the Spider-Man.
Okay.
Green Goblin leaves, right? They leave. The other villains leave for like, what is it? It's like 15 or 20 minutes before the final battle happens. Maybe even more because there's all the conversations that happen. I want to see what they're up to. Now, it would have added some time, but Green Goblin goes off. He starts terrorizing, but Tom just is still dealing with Aunt May's death. And so maybe he has 2 people by the throat, and like Green Goblin, she's going to kill them. But then the web hits, and you're like, okay, Tom's back. And then the music starts playing, and then it's Toby that comes in or something like that. And that's just making that more epic. But just in general, like that weird part where the villains leave is something where I really wanted to see more from them. Just with like terrorizing the city of New York or whatever. I mean, other than that though, it's almost perfect to me.
That is an interesting thing you just said. None of Tom's movies have had his villains terrorize New York at all.
Yeah. I mean, they kind of moved... It was a very strong thing in the original trilogy. And every movie it happens. But, yeah, I mean, I just think that it was a missed opportunity there. and I'm not trying to judge it completely on what it didn't do. I think what it did do was almost perfect. It's number 2 nonetheless. Aunt May's death. I'll defend the first half to the day I die. I know people like say it's weak on rewatch, but I don't think so.
It is very charming.
The stakes are there, and obviously there's the bit with like Happy and all that. Doctor Strange is still a ton of fun in it. So I don't know. I don't get the criticism. The fight scenes are maybe my favorite of any Spider-Man movie.
The reason it's here, honestly, probably is recency bias. Because like when I think about this movie, I get like hyped again because like certain scenes. So that's probably recency bias kicking in. So I'll figure it out soon. But like as of right now, these are my favorites.
Yeah.
And No Way Home, I just think there's so many cool shots in there too, though. I told you this, like my favorite scene in that movie is probably like when Aunt May dies and he's on the rooftop.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Yeah. So like they cut to black and then
I love that scene.
It's so well shot. Yeah. And just like the way that J. Jonah Jameson's almost speaking to him.
Mm-hmm.
But it always ties back because who casted J. Jonah Jameson?
Me.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Anything else on that, John?
I just think these Spider-Man movies are so good.
Are you gonna talk? I'll say my number 1 Spider-Man 2, so you can talk about it as well.
My
it's number 2.
Yeah, okay. Spider-Man 2 is still amazing. I just said it's probably recency bias why it's not there.
Yeah.
I think we get some of the best Spider-Man stuff here, and some of the best Peter Parker stuff here.
Yeah.
Which is why it's like a good blend because it's probably like half Peter Parker and half Spider-Man.
Yeah, that's what's so like it carries all the charm, and I think it removes a lot of the dated charm of Spider-Man 1. Doc Ock is incredibly iconic. Obviously, like a really good point I saw was Doc Ock is better in this than No Way Home because in this one it's so powerful when he chooses not to be the bad guy.
Yeah.
Except instead of Toby, he gives the speech, of course, but it's so powerful when he's like, I'm not gonna do this, and he like tells the arms.
That's why he's considered like the best Spider-Man.
And the stakes, and I mean, how like real his connection is to the city, and the city as a whole other character. It's just consistently good.
Yeah, very happy they didn't go with the love triangle between him and MJ though.
That would have been quite strange. But nonetheless, what they did, I think it's definitely my favorite superhero movie. Yeah. I don't know what else I can say. Of course, it's my number 1.
Yeah. Mine will probably change if I'm going to be honest. But as of right now, No Way Home is my favorite.
All right. Anything else, Sean?
Nah.
That's our...
Wait, really quickly, I have a question for you. Were you surprised by my list at all?
Yeah. Spider-Man 3, bottom.
Were you surprised by where... Because The Amazing Spider-Man wasn't, like, super high. Like, both of them weren't, like,
I didn't think
high.
you'd rank it super high. But I thought it was going to be middle.
It was about middle, yeah.
8, yeah. Yeah. That was not totally surprised, but Spider-Man 3 did hurt a little bit, I gotta say. I don't know if I can ever see the same. That is our ranking, everybody. Tell us yours down below. Like, subscribe, check us on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Rebored Podcast. Check out the podcast anywhere you listen to podcasts, Rebored Podcast. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.